Hello everybody, and this is Rampant Sarcasm here. Now, for those of you who may be wondering what this is a old first-person shooter series developed by Bungie around 1993, I believe, around the same time Doom came out. And it, as you can see, looks rather quite similar to Doom. There are, however, quite a few differences. Marathon did a few things different that no other shooter had done before. It had a novel way of telling a story, as will be introduced. It was the first shooter series, I believe, to introduce liquid elements that you could actually swim through, up in Marathon 2 and Infinity. And vacuum levels is what it also introduced. And it did a few other things. This will be my first playthrough, since I feel it's only fitting I do one of my favorite shooter series. And I hope you all enjoy yourselves. Now, for those of you who may not know the story, you are a security officer aboard the UESC Marathon, a colony ship that was terraformed from Deimos, I believe, the moon of Mars. Now, its novel way of telling the story at the time, for when it came out, was through these terminals you see here, in which you would interact with various things. Oops, sorry. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is you may pause if you wish to read this, but otherwise I am not going to spend a whole lot of time reading these for you guys. I will pause here briefly so you have time to quickly pause if you want to read, and then I will be moving on. I already know the story, and I don't really need to read it out loud. You guys don't have to sit here and listen to me read to you. You're very capable of that on your own. I'm thinking I may want to post the information, though, from the manual for the basic plot. Maybe, I don't know. Now, for those of you who are wondering why I'm one-shotting these poor aliens here, these are the weakest of the bunch. Curious quirk of the engine is if you're running forward as you punch, you'll actually hit harder than you would otherwise. And that's why I'm insta-giving them. I am also currently playing on the default difficulty level. I'm not amazing enough to play on a super high one. There are 4 difficulty levels, of course. There's Kindergarten, the normal, and then there's major damage and the maximum, which is total carnage. I am using my fist because I wish to conserve as much ammunition as possible. There's no real reason to be running around using my pistol on weaklings. As you can see, the very first level here of M1 is rather claustrophobic. That guy just took a shot at me. There's not a whole lot to do down in this little maze-like area except to come up here, and we're going to run into this alien here in a moment. Wherever he went. Now, the funny thing is whenever you hit enemies, they sort of do what some Doom monsters would do, which is there's a pain threshold and then they get stunned when you hit them. Those guys you can just sit there and punch to death if there's no other threat. It's not even really a big deal. I believe there is some goodies somewhere around here. No, I guess I was imagining things. There's another one of those weird-looking guys down here somewhere. My radar should give me an idea, but it's kind of tricky right now. It's very disorienting, as you can see. He's just lurking around here somewhere. There's one of his buddies who is working at a terminal that doesn't really have any plot-specific information, or at least nothing that's not too difficult and puzzling to unravel, per se. And so, you know, he's not gonna hurt me if I don't hurt him, so we're gonna ignore him. There's a shield recharger, because there is regenerating health, air quotes with my fingers here, in the sense that as long as you have a shield recharger station, you can juice up your shields, but beyond that, any damage you take is permanent, so it did differ from Doom that way. And then you can layer your shields. There are shield recharges that go up to 2 times and 3 times your regular shielding. Also here, much like Doom, you can get the enemies to fight amongst themselves. However, unlike Doom, monsters or enemies are not immune to their own projectiles, and it does take more than just one hit to get them to attack each other. Whereas in Doom, they'd hit each other once and immediately get pissed off and start fighting amidst themselves. Which I suppose, per the nature of demons, that's pretty reasonable. The aliens here are not quite so easy to offend. They are tolerant to a little friendly fire, and so are some of your allies, which you do get, though there are a few types that you don't even want to hit once, because they will immediately become hostile to you. And that is that for the final level, I believe. This is Arrival, as it is called. Pretty self-explanatory. Not really a whole lot to this map. It's fairly simplistic. And we're going to go to the terminal here. There's an alien right around this corner. They like to lie in wait, and sometimes you can draw enemies out by firing a round from a pistol or something, because they'll be attracted to sound, or sometimes you can sneak up behind them like that. Not too often, though. The motion sensor is interesting. That's a look disorienting. As you can see with my motion sensor in the bottom left, it seems to be showing the red triangle that seems to indicate an enemy when I move right in the center, which is odd. It should instead be showing a green square, which typically indicates friendly human. Now, the story seems fairly simplistic, I'm sure, at this point. And to a degree, early on in Marathon 1, it is. But later on, it's actually quite staggering the amount of detail that goes into the story for Marathon. It's one of the reasons it has such a huge, I shouldn't say huge, but dedicated cult following even to this day. To the point that I'm actually not running this on a DOS box or anything like that. I am actually running this on a conversion. No, not a conversion. It's an engine called Ep1 that was designed and produced with the intent of allowing this to run on modern systems. And it works quite well, and it also juices up the graphics quite a bit. It's quite nice. These textures you're seeing here would actually be a lot lower res and a lot uglier if this was not Ep1. And it also adds some more effects that I don't think I've actually turned on at the moment, because there's more it can do. It's pretty impressive, and apparently that guy just killed his buddies for some reason. There is a secret that can be reached up there with grenade hopping, but it's not really worth it. Now, despite the fact that this engine does add some new things, it does not add some of the things that, say, some of the systems like GZ Doom for mods like Brutal Doom and whatnot add. It does not add jumping, it does not add a lot of things like that. It tries to stay as close to the original gameplay as possible. There's another secret over there that I can reach only by grenade hopping, but it's not really worth the damage you take. Ow, that kind of hurt, you jerk. So I'm not going to bother with it. You can see it right there. It's actually a infravision, I believe, but I don't really need it. Now, you might also be pondering the fact that the character I'm playing, the security officer for the marathon here, seems to be abnormally strong, and there is an explanation for that as well. But I will not spoil things for those of you who do not know. Quite nice, some of the things that it has done, most importantly the crosshair, because the pistols here, the magnums, were actually very difficult to land shots with in the original game due to the lack of a crosshair. And that was another reason punching was so useful in early levels, because the pistol wasn't the most accurate weapon without the crosshair to guide your aim. And in the heat of the moment, it's actually still rather difficult. But these pistols may not look like much, but once you get a secondary to use, and you're good enough at aiming, they're actually quite nasty, especially in multiplayer. Someone who is good at aiming with the pistol is actually pretty dangerous in multiplayer. And there is an ambush here. There are some of those aliens floating up above. I'm trying to trigger them. You can tell I've played this before, and I have many times. Because I do not want to get sandwiched between a bunch of aliens. Come on. I know you're up there. Ugh, they're not triggering. There they go. Oh, crud. I'm good. No, I'm good. Oh, I'm a little tense there. We're going to need firepower since I'm so very dangerously close to it. Now, an interesting thing about the marathon games is that it will often have these terminals here that have information that does not seem to be particularly pertinent, or can outright be utterly baffling and seem like red herrings. And the community has spent a lot of time puzzling out potential meanings, because sometimes there's a lot more to it than looks the eye. And this describes the door designs on the marathon. And it explains how they are typically controlled by the AI known as Durandal. If I went too fast there, I apologize, but you may not be interested anyways. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the map. Bigger guns nearby. Not too difficult either. Although this did emphasize the importance of learning how to dodge in this game, because as you can see from my health in the bottom left, there's not a whole lot of health rechargers close by, and you take a lot of hits, you're in a lot of trouble. Our current goal, as stated by Leela, is that she wants to reactivate the marathon's automated defenses. The defensive drones, otherwise known as the MADD drones. And in this level, Never Burn Money, we will encounter a new enemy. Not a particularly threatening enemy. Oops. That was my Doom instincts kicking in to open that up. But an irritating enemy. Say hello to the wasp. Ooh, that one hit me. Just die. They don't take a whole lot to go down, though. Oh! They got me. The 4 fighters here, in case you were wondering what they were called, P, F, H, O, R, are not much of a threat, but they can be dangerous if you're not very careful. And I wasn't super careful there. I'm going to rely on my pistol, I think. I don't want to get too close. I do have 30 clips after all. I missed. That was sloppy marksmanship. I know there's a shield recharger nearby, but I need to find it as soon as possible. I am very close to death, and I am not, by far, not one of the best players in the game. Sometimes you'll see extra weapons that you already have laying around, because the game does have cooperative play, and if you die, you lose everything, and if you have a partner, they may want a gun too. Bingo. That feels better. No longer quite so tense and in... Oh, hello. Now that I've fought my way to a health recharger, I'm not quite so concerned about taking hits. And there's a guy behind me. Where did you come from? That's what I would like to know. We will very, very quickly save here. It's always important to save, because if you don't and you have to restart a whole lot of stuff, you regret it. I'll turn some lights on. I didn't know that was there, actually. Okay, that's just Leela telling me to get back to work. Who, by the way, you already know who Leela is, I don't know. Why I'm telling you who she is. You know. You guys are smart. You're not dumb cookies. You don't need me to tell you anything. Oh, that's how that guy got behind me. Okay. Hello. Goodbye. No one else lurking back here. I keep hitting space accidentally, because again, I've been playing Doom a lot, and space is the interact key on that, so I'm a little thrown off. Darn you, muscle memory. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of anything in here, except for some ammo. We have a uplink chip that we're going to need. That's 2. We need another one. There's nothing in there. That's strange. Evidently, the automatic manufacturing system, ADS, I believe, failed to teleport the final chip to me. Naturally, we couldn't have things be too easy. Not that getting the final chip will be all that difficult either. Is there anything down here? No. There's an elevator up here, though. Let's pull out the big boy. Oh! I actually thought he was further away from me than that. Hello. that final shot I used. So since there's no reload function, sometimes to refill your clip you gotta empty the last bullet. But there it actually managed to clip an enemy that I didn't see, since the fog here is beautiful. We're gonna have a lot of bad guys right here. Oh, hello. Is there anything else here? No, I don't think so. We're done here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Never Burn Money. And now we're on to the second chapter, Counterattack. Which should teleport us to the map called Defend This. Here we get some information on the various aliens. And that the various different aliens we see belong to different species. He snuck right up on me. Cheeky little booger. Now this room is interesting. You may notice there doesn't seem to be any particular exits, I should say, and the floor is rising. So it's a race against time, but I already know where the secret door is. So, not really much of a climax. Climax? Tension riser there. I believe. Yes, here's where the ammo room is that Lula mentioned. I'm going to want what's in it, because I believe, yes, we finally get some ammo for our secondary fire, the grenades on this very nice rifle. And now we are fully ready to go. Definitely works better up close range, as it is highly inaccurate from further away. We're trying to hit this elevator before it goes back up. Yay, we made it. Very big room, lots of projectiles. Oh, got hit there. We're gonna keep going past them. Draw them into a corridor. Funnel them all into a nice little tight zone. Oh, some of them are fighting with each other. Not really a problem for me at the moment. I'm not interested in trying to fight them. Enemy just went around the corner there. Pissed each other off. There's one of these guys who are called the Skate. Their spelling is rather interesting for it. And now here it is, part of my channel name, Rampant Sarcasm. This here is where part of my name comes from, since this is one of my favorite series. Rampancy, if you have heard the term from Halo 4, which, by the way, just totally destroys the term and bastardizes it, is very interesting in this series. The name Rampancy, part of the Rampancy also in my name refers to something else. Another character in this that you will encounter yourself, and he's quite the fun one. But that has some very interesting information there, so worth taking a moment to read. Lots of names here. That right there is one of the MAD drones. It's on my side. It's not hostile to me. As you can see by the fact that it's green on my, ow. That hurt. On my motion sensor there. They're actually fairly effective, as you can see there. At least against enemies that have huge health. Ouch. Deal for here's some info on the alien. The 4, as I mentioned, are the lighter, thinner, or they're thinner and lighter than us, and they are adapted for low gravity environments. And that they have many clans, as Durandal, another AI, has told Leela, and they're all physically distinct from each other. So far, we only know about the Fighter, which we've seen a lot of so far, and then an enemy we haven't met yet, the Trooper, which is similar to us in a number of ways. And they have, the 4, by the way, are slavers, and they have enslaved a number of other races. The Hulk, as it is called, that's not its name for itself, but... Oh, and then the other weird-looking aliens that, you know, sort of flash us to attack are called the Spit, or the Spit Compiler. They're cybernetic organisms. And hey, speak of the devil, that's them. Hey, you got work to do, mister. I don't want to bother with him. You use your ammo. Bit of trial and error there. Not really much to it, though. Get a bit trickier though. Oh good, I solved it fairly easily. It's not very complicated. Leela's admonishing me that I am not doing my job. Like, I'm working on it, woman. Those will crush me if they can. Oh, that muscle memory just screwed me hard there. That was bad. We got will come in useful. To activate the automatic defense. We're done here. But before I teleport out of this level, I'm most definitively going to heal up and save, because I believe this is where the end of our video is coming. I hope you have all enjoyed yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Although you may not have laughed much, I do try to entertain, but I don't find myself to be the funniest person in the world. But who knows, maybe in the future. If you have any comments or tips, put them down in the comments below, like and subscribe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. This is Rampant Sarcasm, signing off.